Wow, that's gonna get really annoying. The neighbors are doing some roofing, so you're gonna hear a lot of banging. Anyway, welcome to Arthur's Pontiac Fiero blog, and I know that I promised, what, a year? 2 years? I forget how long it's ago. That I go over how the rear brake calipers operate, and I just haven't actually done that yet until today. The Amazon clearance program is an amazing program where you can frequently find things that you need that have been returned to Amazon for whatever reason for extremely reasonable prices. And I keep an eye on the clearance bins for the various vehicles that we own. I have a van, I have the Fiero, and well, one day we had a rear brake caliper show up, and it usually goes for about $100, and this one was on clearance for about $50, and I figured that I would watch it and see if it fell in price at all, and it fell from 50 to 40 to 35 to 30, and finally settled on 29. And then it was Prime Days, and when I put it in, it offered me an additional 20% off that price, so I got a rear brake caliper that normally goes for around, depending on where you get it, from $50 to $75 for $23 shipped. I couldn't have said no, so I bought it. And then I discovered exactly why it was on the Amazon clearance rack. Well, here we go. This is the Amazon clearance box, and this is approximately exactly as I found it. Yeah. The spring is supposed to be on here, and as you can see, the piston is completely. This should be inside of here, and I can tell you almost exactly what happened. That whomever had this before I had it, they did not know how to actually operate this, so they kept actuating the lever here for the parking brake over and over and over, which causes us to push out just a little bit more every single time until finally it popped out. And they probably didn't know what to do, but since Amazon's return policy is extremely reasonable for such things, they just put it back into the box and mark it as defective. That's a guess, but it's an educated guess based on what I'm looking at here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this opportunity to show you exactly what's inside one of these rear brake calipers. Alright, so we've got a number of different pieces here. This is the piston assembly. And of course, I wish I was at my mother's. Where my mother's, whenever I do videos, there's significantly less traffic and things going on because she lives out in the middle of nowhere. And here, unfortunately, we've got, well, lots of traffic, so bear with me for the sound. Anyway, this is the piston assembly right here. There's a screw actuator here, which mates up with a bolt that runs the length of the inside of the caliper. And it's either a left-hand thread or a right-hand thread, depending on which side of the car the caliper is designed for, whether it's driver's side or passenger side. And in this specific instance, I cannot remember with the life of me what it is, but I'm pretty sure, yes, this is lefty-tighty. I'm looking at the threads right now. I'm not sure if you can see. Actually, let's see here. Can we see on that? Probably not so awful much, but if you look really close, it's a lefty-tighty thread. And here you've got your dust shield here to keep the schmutz out of the internals. There's a flat cut seal that runs the length of the inside. And let's see here, just like the front calipers, these have a couple of they're floaty things. They allow this whole piston assembly here to float on it, or they should. Now that's interesting. These assemblies right here, I should be able to push these in and out with ease, and that isn't budging. That's an issue. Nope, I can't get those to move at all. So we're gonna press those out and see what's what. We can see that somebody has put blue Loctite here on the bolts, and that's fine. You don't want these to back out once you actually have them installed. But what you do want is you want these slides here to be able to move in and out freely, because that is how your caliper will move back and forth freely. In addition, you have a spring which allows constant tension to be placed here on the actuator for the emergency brake, and this is the bracket against which it pushes. So it's supposed to go something like I'm not going to install it now because I want it to be able to do it properly. It sort of sandwiches in between here and here. It'll take me a little bit to get it on there. I might actually have to use a spring compressor. I've done it without a spring compressor, and I can tell you it's a challenge. A $12 spring compressor from your local auto parts store can really make that significantly easier. Let's see here, what else? Okay, it's got a brand new bleed screw and a brand new banjo bolt. That's good. I mean, a brand new rebuilt caliper should have all of that. And what we're going to do right now is I'm going to remove this seal here, because if I try to put the piston back as is, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen, because I've ruined several of them. I'm going to tear this seal. You know what I really don't want to do? I don't want to tear the seal. So I'm going to pop it out first. There is a metal ring that goes around the circumference here, and I'm going to use a breaker bar, a small pry bar, or a screwdriver here, and get inside here and just pry these out, so that I can screw this piston assembly back in. And I'm also going to remove these, I keep wanting to say bushings, they're not bushings, these slides, to see exactly why these aren't moving. They should move free. I should be able to do this, push these back and forth with my fingers, and they are not budging. That's very, very wrong. Okay, well, I answered the question as exactly why these things don't want to slide. The rebuilder didn't put any lube in there. These things should be liberally lubricated there so that it can slide on these, I don't know what to call these things, bushings? There's bushings in here. The bushings appear to be properly installed. See if I can get close in there. You can maybe see. But yeah, there isn't a bit of lubrication in there. I mean, there is, but not anywhere near enough. So I'll get out the brake lube and we'll go around from there. The bigger issue that I'm having right now is actually trying to remove the dust seal here. It's I'm going to have to get a fine screwdriver so that I can pry in between here and the body of the caliper so that I can pop that out. And with the help of a very, very fine bladed screwdriver and a pick, I have removed the seal, and that is so that I don't tear the seal, because these things are not cheap, and I think they actually stopped making them because, you know, the Fiero is a nearly 40-year-old car, so why would they keep doing that? Okay, and now that I actually have the internal mechanism of the piston assembly removed from the caliper, here you can see, yes, it's a left-handed screw on lefty-tighty thread that makes the piston retract into the housing of the caliper. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to be able to remove this, because there's a seal right here so that your brake fluid isn't going out into the world, and that will seat right up inside of here. So that seal that I just pointed out is, you know, it's sealing right here. But in addition, there is a seal that goes on the outside here. There's an additional barrier, you know, against, you know, things getting in. You take a look at the outside here, and there's a hex, and that hex nests right up into that, like that. And because of this piece right here, when it's on the outside, it is putting just enough, because it's compressible, it puts just enough pressure against this that it makes it want to pop off of here. So when you're trying to remove this nut from the end of this, it makes this want to spin right on the outer edge of the assembly. In fact, you can see, unfortunately, some of the damage that I did as I was trying to remove it. It's a little bit chewed up. This is brand new, and unfortunately, I've chewed it up a little tiny bit trying to remove it, because I'm trying to push up on this simultaneously and down on this simultaneously, so that I can actually use this, just zip it off. Very, very certain that in the rebuilding facility there would be an actual factual way to do this, an actual proper tool. I don't have those tools, but it is a part, and now we will begin reassembling this. Before we do, just wanted to show you. Here's the piston. Whoop, stop that. Here's the piston. Here's the piston, and here's the screw actuator, and it just sits down there like so. And look at that. Lefty-tighty. Lefty-tighty. And you can see that there's no problem here, because it just slides down because it's properly lubricated. It's operating just the way it should, and why shouldn't it? It's a brand new piston. Now, what you can't see here, and I'm just going to have to pantomime here, because I am not taking this apart. Internally, there's a whole bunch of other parts too. Yes, this causes the piston to be able to push out. The piston doesn't push out and turn at the same time. The piston pushes out straight when it comes out, because these notches right here, they notch right onto your brake pads when you have them in place. The whole thing doesn't turn. Anybody that's telling you that when you're trying to actually work with your rear brake pads, you need to use one of those little cube tools or one of those screw tools to screw these back in, on a lot of brake calipers, that is the case. On an 84 through 87 Fiero, do not do that. Do not use one of those screw tools to turn these back in. You will break the finer internal parts in here. You could even break or strip out the threads on this bolt assembly. Now, that said, you've got the, for lack of a better word here, it's a I was going to say a nut, but it's not a nut. It's a thread assembly. It goes through the body and through the center of the thing. We've got this cup here, which actually holds, with friction, the entire assembly together. And if you were to take this entire thing apart, this part right here, it wides out into the base here inside, and there is an assembly with tiny itty-bitty little bearings so that it can actually turn, but it doesn't. I'm not sure why why they have that. I do know that once you actually assemble this thing, that you can actually possibly turn the internal assembly here in the unit, but I'm not 100% certain if that's the way it's supposed to be. I know that it can be done, but I'm not sure if it's a thing that one should be doing. But probably not. As this gets turned, it's pushing out the assembly for the emergency brake cable, the parking brake. So now we're going to reassemble this, and hopefully it'll work, right out of the box, or right back into the box, because I'm going to assemble it and put it in the box and use it on a future Fiero. Okay, and here we have the caliper reassembled. I liberally lubricated the slides here with silicone ultra brake parts lubricant. I personally like Permatex because it works. It's long lasting and it won't break down. Spring compressor. You use this and you squeeze the spring real tight, and then you can use that to install your spring back in the correct upright and lock position. And the dust boot here has been pressed back into place. At least I think it's in the correct position, because it's kind of challenging to tell, because when you turn one of them inside out, they don't like to do it correctly if it's wrong. It just feels wrong, and if it pulls out and it's extended correctly, it sort of turns into this kind of a bowl cone thing. I really don't know how to describe what I'm saying here, but look, we've reassembled our brake caliper, and now I can put it on the shelf until at which point in time I need it. So anyway, if you like what you've seen here, actually, hold on a second. All right, team, I'm gonna finish up here with I got a question for y'all. I installed the Dodge Runner belt tensioning bracket on, you know, my friend who's covered up over here. And it didn't take me very long. It took me about 3 hours. 45 minutes of that was actually installing the bracket itself, which was nothing. And the other 2 hours was me fighting desperately to actually get the belt installed with the pathetic tools that I have for installing a belt. That and my real lack of experience. My question is, because I was going forth and I was editing the video and cutting out all the little bits there where I'm sitting silently, you know, things like that. And I got about halfway through, I had to stop and I had to go away, and then, yeah, we had a power outage, and so like 4 hours of work was just gone just like that. And I'd rather not have to return to that. So would you guys like to see the Dodge Runner installation video? I mean, you could just click around to the important bits there. I'd still like to actually upload it because, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it anyway. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. So anyway, if you like what you've seen here, and hopefully this has been informational, don't forget to share and subscribe and like the videos there, so you can come back and be like, oh, you know, I was wondering the other day what was going on inside of a rear brake caliper on a Pontiac Fiero, and now I know a video where I can actually find that information.